Okay. 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 Hmm? Upcoming, but not coming. Correct? But she says upcoming, but not coming. Ah. All right. We pick up again on the fourth mantra. Actually, in some textbooks or some publications, it may be just the third mantra, second part. Na tatra chakshur gacchati, na vak gacchati, no manaha. Na vidmo, na vijanimo, yathaitadanushishya. Up to there is counted by some publications as the third mantra. Then there is a second part, which we shall take up in detail in this session, which is counted as fourth in some publications or second part of third itself. Let's not worry about the mantra number 3 or 4. The portion we are going to see now is the Rishi of Kena-Upanishad says, Anyadeva tad viditat atho aviditat adi. Iti shushruma, पूर्वेभ्यः ये नः vākya-bhāshya. So that second part of the third mantra has a typical flavor of Upanishadic statements which puzzles the reader. Last time we saw quickly the meaning. This Brahma, which makes the ears to hear, which makes the nose to smell, which makes the eyes to see, all that. This Brahma is neither in the camp of the known nor in the camp of the unknown. Anyadeva viditat atho aviditat adi. We took a very simple meaning, and generally many Vedanta students are more than happy with it, more than satisfied. What was the meaning we gave? You see, it's neither the known nor the unknown because it is the knower. Other than the known, other than the unknown, there is the knowing principle. That is all it means. Anyadeva viditat ato aviditat adi. Anyat means other than, vidita, known. Aviditat adi, above. So call it other than the known or call it above the unknown. What it means is you can't put it in these two boxes. Somebody here knows Marathi, Hindi and English. So Marathi, Hindi, English are in the box of the known. Then I asked her, how about French, Spanish and Japanese? She says, I don't know. So French, Spanish and Japanese are in the box of the unknown. So 3 languages she knows, one box. 3 languages she doesn't know, the second box. And here comes the Upanishad. You know, Brahma is in neither this box nor that box. So first a student would say, anything and everything in this universe should belong either to the camp of the known or to the camp of the unknown. For example, in this matter of languages, somebody says, what about Portuguese? Portuguese, this lady may either know, then it joins Hindi, Marathi and English. Or this lady does not know Portuguese, it then falls into the box of Spanish, French and Japanese. So initially one thinks, well, anything in this creation has to either belong to the known or to the knower. How can there be anything which is neither known nor unknown? So we say, you've forgotten. There is something called the knower. But about it, there is a long discussion now. And the discussion goes into such issues. And I tell you, this is not just breaking our head over unnecessary logic. If you get the essence of what we are now going to say, it will be a major milestone in your grasp of what Atma is, which means what you are. Whenever you get increased clarity on Atma, please know it is increased clarity about yourself. So, by saying it is the knower, knower doesn't belong to either the known or the unknown. You don't so easily escape. Because the Purvapakshi, the imagined opponent, may say, about the knower, we can either attach the label the known knower or the unknown knower. In other words, I can ask one of you, okay, if Brahma is the knower, tell me, do you know that Brahma? And if you say, I don't know, then it goes to the box of the unknown. And when I ask you, so you say you don't know Brahma, or you say you know Brahma, then it goes to the box of the known. Therefore, though you cleverly, using a clever language, put it as the knower, and in language you created a third category, not known, not unknown, but the knower. But don't play with language. This so-called third either has to belong to the known or the knower. Then we have created the audience or the watchers on YouTube will be able to see a slide now. We open a slide. Is it possible to open a slide? There are only two slides and there's not much in them. So for the audience right in front of me here, for people watching the YouTube, let me tell you, this evening in India here, we have some 25 people physically in front of me. So I'm seeing them and I'm seeing into the camera of the laptop. That is when all of you on YouTube will feel that I'm looking at you. So the slides are talking about, the first slide is just the mantra. Anya devatad viditat, ato aviditat adi. Go to the second slide. Yeah, first slide has come in my laptop. Yeah, it should come in my laptop. That is what shows, that is what is visible to people watching the YouTube. The second slide is the piece of Shankara's Bhashya. We have gone to the second slide now. And the first slide, the mantra, we had seen in the last class also, and I already mentioned it 2 or 3 times. Other than the known, other than the unknown, we don't know how to talk about it. We don't know how to instruct it. This is what we heard from the eminent teachers of ours. They said to us in this way. This much is the meaning of that first slide. The second one gives a simple example. Those of you who have studied Atma Bodha have also seen this example where, it is said to see a pot in a dark room. There's a dark room and there is a pot. You need to go with a torch, a flashlight, a candle, or some source of light. You go to the dark room, you don't see anything at all, but there is a pot on a table there. Then you turn the switch on, light on. To see a pot, you need to have some light. Now, Atma Bodha in a certain verse asks a question. Instead of a pot, suppose in a dark room, somebody goes and keeps a burning candle, then says, go in. You go into that room, and to see that burning candle, do you ask somebody, get me a torch, I want to see whether there is a candle? Or why? Leave the candle away, leave any oil lamp away. During the day, in sunlight, you see houses, you see people, you see animals moving around. Then you wonder, how come I am able to see all this? Somebody says it's because of the sun in the sky. Oh, I want to see the sun now. See the sun, can I have a source of light that illumines the sun? You won't ask. The sun is Swayam Prabha, Swayam Prakasha. So the Upanishads make this important revelation. The pure self, which is also Brahman, is Swayam Prakasha. So to say it in Sanskrit, Adi Shankara says, Nahi Pradipaha Swarupa Abhivyaktau, to express itself, Prakashantaram Anyataha Apekshate Swatova. It neither needs another lamp for it to be known. A lamp which is light, which is burning, which is shedding light. To see it, you don't have to bring another lamp. Nor do you say, this lamp, in order to be seen, has to borrow some light from itself, etc. Such question doesn't arise. From within, Swatova, Anyatova, Prakashantaram na apekshate. And then, Yadhi anapeksham tad swataha eva siddham prakashatmakatvat. Adi Shankaracharya writes, that which doesn't need one more lamp to show its presence actually is of the nature of light and therefore siddham. It is self-established. And suppose somebody says, yeah, you may not need, but I'm such a good friend of yours. For you to see the lamp very clearly, I will anyhow bring another light. What do you say? Obliging you. You don't need another lamp to see the lamp. But your friend says, I am such a good friend of yours, and I will bring one more lamp. Shankara says, Pradipasya anyaha apekshitaha api anartakaha syat. To see the burning candle, if somebody brings one more candle, that serves no purpose at all. This candle, which is giving light, is itself visible. Even this is fine. Nahi pradipasya swarupa abhivyaktaha pradipa prakashaha arthavan. So, within a lamp, pradipa means a lamp, its own light, just for philosophical purpose, suppose you imagine its own light is illumining it, that argument is not required. Why do you want to create a duality? This is also fine. Now, the imagined opponent asks a question. If it doesn't require any light at all, there is a problem. If it is self-evident, if Atma is self-evident, thank you for saying that. I don't need scriptures also, right? To know the self. I will give holiday to Vedanta classes from today. I have many movies not seen. I have many, restaurants to visit. There's a long list of things to do. If you say the Brahma that you are, the Atma that you are, doesn't require anything under the sun. You can see it by itself. You are the light. Then Shruti becomes anarthaka. It is said, Nacha evam atmanaha anyatra vijnanamasti yena swarupa vijnane api apekshiyeta. Purva Pakshi sentence comes next. Virodaha. There is a contradiction here. If Atma is Swayam Prakasha, then you don't even need scriptures. If Atma is not Swayam Prakasha, that is self-illumined, revealing itself by itself without any other help, then your example of the lamp is not all right. Because giving the example of the lamp, you said at the loudest possible voice that to know yourself, you don't need anything. Just as a lamp in a dark room, to know it, you don't need to carry another light. You enter, you say, there's a lamp burning here. Then Shankaracharya answers it, no. This is where your Vedanta can take one step deeper. What actually is happening then in our life? We are supposed to be self-effulgent. We are supposed to be the very basis of all knowledge under the sun. And yet we grope in darkness about what we are doing, what we are struggling for. The same thing is said about love also. Your very nature is love. And when you listen to it in a lecture, you feel very good. Thank you for saying that. And you go out. But when you go out and meet people, practically you fight with everybody. As they say, no two people can live together at peace. One lady in Chennai who runs a big organization said to me, Swamiji, I found out how to have an organization which has no conflict at all. I said, yes, Ranjini, tell me what is the secret. She said, I found out. Have an organization where everything is done by machines, no human beings. Then there is no question of ego clash. Once you put two people, three people, four people, even if they are husband and wife, even if they are father and son, even if they are whatever, moment there are two or three people, Swamiji, there is conflict in the organization that I run. A is fighting with B, C is fighting with D. They come to me, and what can I do? I cannot dismiss somebody and keep another. For me, all of them are dear. She was expressing, but then in a humorous tone, she said, "I found a solution. I will have an organization where there is only I am the owner. The rest is machines. Then there is no fun. So whether it is love or knowledge, this issue comes. And the gist of it is, Adi Shankara says very nicely, clarifying the matter, you know, we do not go back on our statement. We continue to say that Atma is Swayam Prakasha. You actually don't need even the scripture. We don't need really in that sense. But you may ask, then why are you asking me to study scriptures? And or put it another way, why is it that I feel like coming to the class again and again? I love these classes. In fact, people ask this question to Raman Maharshi. Okay, Maharshi Ramana many times used to say, you don't become the self, you are the self. This is the truth. Then people asked him, it's there in all his talks. Maharshi, if that is so, do you think we can let go of sadhana? Why should we do sadhana at all? And then he, though he did not pass big exams to do a BA, MA or PhD, he had such intelligence, he would come to the point. Maharshi Ramana said, who is asking you to do sadhana really? Tomorrow, suppose I tell you right away now that yeah, you don't need sadhana. Do you think you will really keep quiet? 2 days you may not. Third day you will get nervous. Third day you will say, well, Bhagavan is very compassionate. Bhagavan is very kind. He actually has permitted me not to do sadhana. But if something goes wrong, I am at risk. Why take risk? Why take risk? That way, you will yourself begin sadhana. What Ramana said in that humorous way, even if I permit you to stop sadhana, giving you all guarantee, you are already self, your mind will not let you accept that. Your mind will do so much noise. And within a day or two, you will stop coming to me actually. This man either is not okay, or there are many people who do this with Ramana, Nisargadatta and so on. They are too high, not for me. Therefore, you don't leave sadhana, you leave Maharshi. You leave Nisargadatta. You leave Jai Krishnamurti. You leave, there are many others, high plateau teachers who don't come down to a lower level. So, what is the point then in Shānkarabhāshya? First, Shankaracharya says, in the second slide, we have given this. First of all, he says, Drishyate hi viparita jnanam atmani. The strange, puzzling scenario is viparita jnanam drishyate. Everybody, you know, can be seen to be professing, to be declaring, I am so and so, I am such and such, I am the head of an organization, I am getting old, I am not well these days, I love Vedanta, but health problems are coming in the way. 100 things you and I say, right? That's called viparita jnana. Shankara points out, viparita jnanam drishyate. Then the next sentence is interesting. Samyak jnanam cha drishyate. Samyak jnanam is right seeing. Viparita jnanam drishyate, samyak jnanam api drishyate. As long as there is this, the ground reality in your case, because of a confusion only, there seems to be, I know and yet I do not know. The simple example given generally in Vedanta classes is if you ask somebody, I don't want to ask you whether you have Brahmajnana or not. Tell me one thing, do you exist? Nobody says, I don't exist. Nobody says, nowadays I'm not sure. You go to a dark room, now let's leave the lamp aside. You go to a dark room, yesterday you had gone, there was after turning light on, you found a pot. And then again the teacher asked you to go to a dark room. There was already a burning lamp. You saw the lamp, you saw the pot. But 24 hours later you again go to the dark room. Today also, is there a pot which will become visible when I turn a light on? Today also, will some candle be turned on which I can see without any other lamp? That itself will announce its presence. That you may have a doubt about a candle emerging there or a pot being seen there. But tell me one thing. Having gone to the same dark room second time in the day, will you suddenly have a doubt? Am I present in this room? Nobody will have that doubt. Therefore, I am is samyak jnana. I am. Aham asmi. Every one of us has it. Shankara means that aham asmi is indisputably present. That wisdom is in us. But viparita jnana is doing a lot of noise. Now you may say, therefore, you don't say vidita, avidita. It is avidita. Practically, it is therefore, the sentence is there somewhere down. Tarhi aviditam. There is a line. Tarhi means therefore. Aviditam. So it's not known. And please accept openly that the scriptures have a job of quietening that viparita jnana, opposite knowledge. But Shankara, before getting into it, he goes into quite a long discussion in this. Not long, so much in number of words, but in number of aspects of the matter that he opens up. First, he says, in Shruti, Tattvamasi is said, you are that. That is Chandogya. Atmanam eva avet. Avet means one knows. Av, avet. Somewhere else, avet can mean protect also, sahana bhavatu and so on. Here, atmanameva ava plus eat, like avagachati. Whereas sahana bhavatu, av dhatu. Whereas avet dhatu is e, ava upasarga. Ava plus E, like avagacchati, adhigacchati, etc., is to know. Anyway, let's not go to grammar. Brahadaranyaka, this is no other portion than, everybody knows, Brahadaranyaka Upanishad gives the Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi. In that same paragraph, first chapter, fourth section, 10th mantra. In the same mantra where Aham Brahmasmi appears twice, there is this line which Shankara quotes here. Atmanam eva avet. Atmanam eva janiyat. One would know. And lastly, Brahadaranyaka Upanishad in third chapter says, Etam vaitam atmanam viditva. The sarvatra shrutishu atma vijnane vijnanantara apekshatvam drishyate. Shruti also does both this. It does say Tattvamasi, you already are that, but it does say some other place, you must know. If Atma is Swayam Prakasha, that was the whole problem. Why should you say you must know? Now, in the next portion, the gist of it I'll share with you. I myself found it very scintillating, very, very profound, and it throws very important light. There are two dimensions to it. I'll tell both of them. For this session, that should be enough. The two dimensions are which helps in our sadhana, in Jnana Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, what is the sadhana? More and more clarity. More and more of letting go of some partial understanding. You know, if I ask you, tell me what is Bombay, if you say Bombay is Chor Bazar, Bombay में चोर बाजार जरूर है, but Bombay is not Chor Bazar only. You limited it. Or that's a very silly example I gave. Suppose Bombay is something really beautiful, gateway of India. Bombay is Taj Lands and Hotel. Bombay is Nita Mukesh Ambani Cultural Center. Grand something new. Even though you have picked up something wonderful, Bombay is much more. Why am I saying this? That is the first dimension. The first dimension is, some of you might feel bad about what I say now. After years of studying Vedanta, do you know? A lot of people, majority of people, you know what they cling to? They think I am not the body and mind. I am light. I am the knowing principle. And as they visualize it, as they think about it, they limit themselves to something inside them. And imagine he has his Atma illumining his body and mind. She has her Atma. That sense of plurality, there are many Atmas, doesn't go so easily. For a little of Vedanta we hear in a class, we do then 100 other transactions, so monetary transaction, and many other, you come to my home, I prepare, let's say, some coffee and give to you. You say, such a good coffee, I haven't drunk for many days. After you go away, I say, if not anything else, people are appreciating at least the coffee I make. So I made the coffee. She enjoyed my coffee. I'm here. She is there. That separation doesn't go so easily. Shankara, in some of the words that he presents after this, says the light in this Pradeepa, light in that Pradeepa, light in third Pradeepa, the light in millions of Pradeepa lamps in the whole world are not many lights. Light is one. Atmabodha has some verse to that effect also. Swami Chinmayananji in one spiritual camp to explain light is one, constructed, he was very witty, constructed a scenario. There were two roommates in a hostel or in some guest, PG or something, two roommates, four students. They were very good friends. And there was a lamp under which they used to study. They would to eat together. They would do many things together. But as things happen, both the boys, it could be girls also, but in this example, both the boys developed some misunderstanding. One day they quarreled. There was only one table, Ram and Sham, let us say. Ram used to study this side and read. Sham used to study this side and study. There was one lamp. So good their friendship was. But today they fought. And then they decided we'll have separate tables, separate chairs, and separate. They used to use one dictionary before. They bought one more dictionary. Don't touch my dictionary here onward. And Sham said, you don't touch my dictionary either. Mera mera hai aur aapka aapka hai. So you should see that video. Perhaps there is a video of that. Swamiji making a lot of drama and saying. Then they even said, we don't want to share one lamp anymore. They removed it. They had some little wiring. They put two holders on two sides and put two lamps, right? So sometimes Ram used to sleep off at 10 o'clock. His lamp would be off. Sham would study under the second lamp, which is in his area. They do enter the room. Right side was Ram's and left side was Sham's. So it went on for 2 or 3 days. I don't want to study in your light. You don't study in my light, etc. After 3 4 days, both were studying very hard. Exams were near. Night 11 o'clock. Suddenly Ram shouted at Sham. He said, though we have put two holders, my light is coming to your area. And Sham said, that's what I wanted to tell you. My light is coming to your area. So you must do something now that though both holders are there, you must somehow withdraw the light. Whatever is coming from your lamp, somehow see that it stops where the middle line is written. Of course, they could have thought of one barrier, etc. But in this example, they think about how the light of Ram and light of Sham could be separated. And then they closely examine the light in the room. Wherever they see there is one light. A simple example. Scientifically you can don't stretch examples like that. Physicists may say put a blue lamp there and yellow lamp there, and light of such and such wavelength is now Ram's and light of such and such wavelength is Sham's, and I will give you an instrument which will filter out some wavelength. That is all stretching the example. Now, this was 85 or something, if I remember right. 1985, Swamiji taught Atma Bodha to a bunch of us in Saraswati Nivaya. He said, just as light is one, something happened. Is it going? Suddenly the picture change. Oh no, you removed the slide, I think. I thought something. No, okay, fine. So I continue. Fine, fine. So the slide was taken away because that matter was over. So think about it. I need not go to too much analytics or analysis at this time. Analysis. Just as the light in the room is one. Wherever you put your hand, you can't say this is Ram's light and this is Sham's light. You can do that about the table. You can touch the table on the right side. This is Ram's, and hit the second table. This is Sham's. In light, it's not possible. Now, leave aside analogies and examples. Atma is that knowing principle which is absolutely one in all. Your thought somehow clings to the idea there is an Atma in me. Advaita Vedanta may say it is infinite, but it is mine because we are so used to making everything mine. It is said that the Native Americans never had boundaries between houses. These white guys went from England, right, and they started all kinds of laws, and everywhere they talked about border. And when there's a famous letter of some Seattle chief or somebody, Native American person, head of their community. A white European wrote to him a letter. I want to buy a piece of land from you. Tomorrow I am coming. Let us measure it and tell me how much I should pay. I will give you, or something like that. Trading. There's a fantastic letter. It's a classic letter. The native chief says, my dear white brother, or something, we have been living on this continent, on this land for centuries. We never talked of my land and your land. And we never talked of buying land. Buying land, selling land, transferring land. It never occurred to us that there is something called ownership of land. You people coming from another part of the world are introducing some strange ideas. These are my words, but he has written better than how I am saying. Beautiful, very beautiful, and even today people draw inspiration from it. How the sense of I, my, me, my language, my forefathers, my caste, my food habit, my color of skin, etc. How they hold us captive. The Native American chief's letter to the white man who proposed to take ownership of a piece of land, which in his eyes was belonging to the native people, is really criticized in that letter. So, in your own way, try to let go of the idea of the light of consciousness having any boundary. This is one thing that comes out of this bhashya. And another is, that's also very important, very fascinating. I am especially fond of it. If you and I say, scriptures are asking us to know the self, which means I do not know the self. If I say I do not know the self, it belongs to the box of unknown. It belongs to the box of unknown because it is avidita. I need to know it now, and therefore I study scriptures. So, how do you say the self is not unknown? If you say it is known, there is a problem. If you say it is unknown, there is a problem. If you say it is known, then why am I not free? I am so sorrowful. Earlier I was unhappy without knowing Vedanta. Nowadays I am unhappy knowing a lot of Vedanta. There was a problem. So I know Vedanta, there's a problem. I don't know Atma, there's a problem. So the Purva is full of problems. Shankaracharya clarifies on that, saying, you know what the scriptures are doing? The scriptures that do a certain job, they do something after all. The scripture, the classes, the teacher's words, the prakriya, the activity of imparting knowledge. It does something. We hear that somebody got enlightened, right? So that whatever scriptures do, and whoever is acted upon by the scripture, both these together is the adhyaropa. They together are part of something that needs to be inquired into. The problem with a whole lot of immature Vedanta students is they never question their own credentials. When, let's say, I get very troubled about some mundane matter or about scriptures, I can't understand this. This is beyond my capacity. I should have gone to Bhakti Yoga from the beginning and remained there. Made the biggest mistake of attending Vedanta classes. In whatever way, let us say. Nobody doubts the doubter. Nobody doubts that thinker. Nobody doubts that entity. Entity in Hindi we say जो है. जो है जिसको संशय हो रहा है. जिसको संशय हो रहा है वो. That entity. Shankaracharya makes it very clear that scriptures first make you aware that there is a certain asamyak darshana. There is a certain erroneous perception which has two sides. The two sides of the error, asamyak darshana is error. Samyak darshana is right saying. In asamyak darshana, there are two sides. And both the sides need to be inquired into. Don't take one side to be unquestionably true. Why do we need scriptures then? You say that Brahma is Satasiddha and you announce next tomorrow the class is at such and such time. In the earlier part of the lecture, you say nobody needs any class, you are free. In the latter part of the class, you say why not we have a class in Rishikesh next month. You propose. So the immature student thinks it's a major contradiction. There is no contradiction. You are Swayam Prakasha, you are Swatha Siddha. You don't need any scripture, is the higher truth, it is the highest truth. But Asamyak Darshana somehow erects, Kada Karna Hindi mein bolte hai, no? There's a fallen doll. I pick it up and at a certain height I keep the doll. A statue is put up. Sachin Tendulkar statue was unveiled day before yesterday. The famous Wankhede Stadium. That is Kada Karna. Some sculptor, Kamble or somebody, made it with great. Wonderful. That's a good thing. I'm not comparing it with a fallen doll. Sachin Tendulkar deserves to be the first statue in Wankhede Stadium, I believe. So Khada Karna. This Asamyak Darshana is certain questionable thing. It doesn't really is. You can't put it as Bhavatmaka or Bhavarupa. Is this Asamyak Darshana Bhavarupi? If it's not Bhavarupi. Bhavarupa means something that is. It needs to be questioned. Therefore, so many examples are given. Snake upon the rope doesn't exist. The ghost upon the post doesn't exist. Right? The silver upon the seashell doesn't exist. Like that, the entire subject-object scenario doesn't exist actually. But it seems to exist. Vedanta helps you to inquire. And the one who inquires is also part of the same domain. So this is touched upon by Shankaracharya at many places. In the Mandukya Karika, there is a Karika which we often quote in this regard. What is that? Nate Dvaitam na vidyate. What is the first part? Upadeshad ayam vada. Yeah. Upadeshad ayam vada. In that setting called teaching and there is a student, it's a setting, it's not real. You are not the student, I am not the teacher. Both of us are Brahman. But there is a setting, which is to be negated, which is to be undone. So Upadeshat, in the setting of this teacher taught setting, ayam vadaha, all this talk takes place. The second line of that Gaudapada's Karika says, Nate, when there is the insight, Dvaitam na vidyate. Dvaitam kadapi na asit. It never existed. But in a manner of saying it existed, it vanished now. Truth alone was, is and will be. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha, like that. So that is also taken up by Shankaracharya following this. Therefore, he says this vidita, avidita, and then the nata, etc. is part of the adhyaropa, deliberate superimposition proposed by the scriptures. And once there is a certain clarity, these structures are let go of. Drop them. Then the final teaching is what Maharshi Ramana said when people ask, tell us in the briefest manner, Summa iru. Summa niru. Be still. Arunagiri Nadar, I believe, had said it in what a Tiruppugal or something long back. Maharshi Ramana said it in the last century. Chumma iru, when you understood. Actually, when you understood, you will keep quiet. You don't have to tell yourself. So some of these points have come there. In fact, I myself found the Sanskrit and the structure a bit tough, but the essence of it I shared with you. Sometimes these bhashyas are such. Two publications themselves will mark some portion as Purvapakshis and some as Siddhantis. Another publication marks something as something else as Purvapakshi and as Siddhanti. So, in olden days, publications were like that. They would not make proper paragraphs. It flows continuously. Panchadashi text also is like that. Some places you don't know what is the doubt. This is doubt and that is answer, or this is answer and that is doubt. So that of course requires greater. Generally, my experience has been you read it ninth time, 10th time, 11th time, and read the translation also, Gita Press, Gambhirananda, something else. Then you will find the right thing, the best thing. It will all fall in place. Cogent, coherent, no contradiction. But lastly, let me tell you one thing. In Jnana Yoga, these hair-splitting arguments are not really a waste. At a certain point of time, you may not be ready for it. Then they're somewhat waste because nothing came out of it that day. But eventually, when you get ready and these questions become your questions, you have the doubt. Then you will find, oh my God, I never knew that this doubt which has been bothering me for a long time is answered by Shankara in his commentary on that mantra. I had read it so many times, I never thought it was answering my question. In this way, you will have an aha moment. And other thing I said before also, when you have a greater clarity about some of these, that there is no limited knower. The knower is infinite, transcends space and time. And then the other one is the scriptures playing a role is within the adhyaropa. When you do apavada of the adhyaropa, the scriptures themselves vanish. Nate dvaitam na vidyate. Which dvaitam? Shikshakaha shishyascha, and duality of yesterday and today, duality of North India and South India. There are so many dualities, good and bad. All of them vanish. Let's pause here. Maybe there are one or two questions in the chat box. You also may raise a question. So, okay. Ranjini, if we see in full slideshow mode, we might see fully. Huh? I see. If we see in full slideshow mode. Today, here there was some technical problem. Vibhaji, who sets up the Zoom, then outsource what you call, connects it to the YouTube, could not do it today. We will come back to it another time. Rampai. Example of camera is used for Brahman and it can never be seen in the Drishya. Yeah. Or see. Next comment. It is about being aware of my existence. It is taking existence belonging to Brahman as my existence. Jiva Bhava. Yeah. So the Advaita Vedanta's answer there is this making awareness as Jiva Bhava is another component of error, erroneous thinking, misinformed thinking. It's like it keeps happening in every subject. Long back when we were studying a little about computers, there was a joke. Somebody came and looked at a computer, said, "This is the, this is the display, this is the keyboard," and he looked at some components, the IC chips and so on. Then he asked, "Where is the software? I want to see software." So he had a notion that software also is some physical thing, something round or square, having some height, having some weight, and so on. Then immediately the host understood, had to explain the basics. Software is not that kind of another cylindrical or spherical or it is a programming which is in this only, in these IC chips that I showed you, in this printed circuit board I showed you. Inside there is the software. But unless somebody had thought over it, the like that visitor would not have fully understood. I went with great hope of seeing software, but they only showed me physical components and said this is the IC, this is a resistor, this is capacitor, this is all these names. Where is the software? So I'm sure in your medicine, in engineering, in economics, in every subject, it's not just in technology. Some words do not become clear initially. And one day suddenly you say, oh, I had a different notion about this, right? So you are right. It is Jiva Bhava. The Jiva Bhava is, according to Advaita Vedanta, illusion. Jiva Bhava looks real and strong when somebody hasn't studied properly. Therefore, it is said, study properly from competent teachers. Otherwise, this negation of Jiva Bhava would seem to some uninitiated student as something going too far. To say Jagat Mithya, to say Jiva is Brahma Eva, etc., looks too far-fetched. But when someone gets it clear and clear, it's better. Okay. Malti Janakiram. Advaita and Vishishtadvaita philosophies also teach about Atma and Paramatma, and they are also right and easy to understand for many. Yeah, many have said Vishishtadvaita is easier because the Vishishtadvaita doesn't completely dismiss the duality. It says God and you are one, but God is the whole and you are the part. That gives a little bit of comfort. Otherwise, people are very uncomfortable saying God and I are one. How can that be? And so on. Vivekananda himself has written that during his United States tours, a lot of people enjoyed listening to Vishishtadvaita from him rather than Advaita. He has written somewhere. Kashinath Mitra, could you please explain again these three words? Avyakta, Avokta, Avyakta, Ukta, Avibhyokta, which sound close to each other. I think there is a little spelling issue. Avyakta is unmanifest. Maybe you are talking about, okay, you can, Madhuji says you can see the full slide by clicking the square icon in the right bottom corner on your screen. Oh, that is the technical point. What was showing up small can become full screen by pressing some button. I request Kash Mitra maybe to send to me in Devanagari or where you found this, because are you referring to Abhokta as Avokta? How do you pronounce it? I have a little doubt. We'll take it up separately. Om Namah Paramarashibhyo, Namah Paramarashibhya. We are in a 6-day camp here in Kudal in southern Maharashtra. That's how I have some 25 to 30 participants of this camp, where the texts are Ramana Gita and Bhagavad Gita. But this weekly class also we managed to insert in this. So some of you on the YouTube may be wondering why today I was looking somewhere up. So there is a real audience here. Instead of seeing into the eye of the camera on the laptop, I was looking at them. So that looks a bit odd when you see on the YouTube. I'm sure most of you understood. Namaste.